This apartment building has a dark secret no one talks about. It's a secret whispered in hushed tones by those who've lived there. Specifically, in apartment 3 billion. People move in, families with young children, excited for a new start, but they quickly realize something is wrong. Something is watching them. It started subtly. Little things at first. A giggle from an empty room, a toy rolling across the floor. Always the sound of children. But no children were there. New families would move in, hoping for a fresh start. They'd bring their own little ones, and that's when it really began. The experiences intensified. It was as if the unseen children were trying to get their attention, or maybe trying to warn them. Sarah and Mark were one such family. They moved into 3 billion with their daughter, Lily, who was 5. Lily loved her new room. She'd often talk about her new friends. Friends her parents couldn't see. She described them as shadowy figures. Small, fleeting, always just out of sight. They'd play with her toys when she wasn't looking. Her dolls would be rearranged overnight. Little handprints would appear on the steamed-up bathroom mirror. Sarah tried to dismiss it as an active imagination. But then she started hearing it too. Faint giggling from the hallway when Mark was at work. Tiny footsteps pattering on the wooden floor. She'd rush to check, but find nothing. Just empty rooms and a growing sense of dread. Mark heard it too. He'd see movement in his peripheral vision. A small shadow darting behind the sofa. He'd shake his head, telling himself it was fatigue. But the feeling of being watched never left. It was a constant, unnerving presence. They weren't just seeing things. The same shadow children appear to everyone. Other residents on the floor had similar stories. They'd talk about the same fleeting figures, the same disembodied giggles, the same toys moving on their own. Always children, always just out of sight. It was like the apartment itself held a memory of children who were no longer there. But the true terror began when the experiences became more direct. One evening, Sarah was in the kitchen. She heard Lily calling her from the living room, "Mommy, come play." Sarah walked in, expecting to see Lily playing dolls. Instead, the room was empty. Lily was nowhere to be found. Panic seized her. She ran to Lily's room. Lily was sitting on her bed drawing. Sarah asked who had called her. Lily looked up, confused. "It wasn't me, Mommy. It was my friends. They wanted to play hide and seek." Sarah's blood ran cold. She asked who her friends were. Lily pointed to the corner of the room, there. In the dim light, Sarah saw them. 2 small, shadowy figures. They were indistinct, like smudges of darkness. But they were definitely there. And they were smiling. Lily started to giggle. She said, "They're hiding now." Sarah grabbed Lily and ran out of the room. She didn't stop until she was outside the apartment. She called Mark, her voice trembling. He rushed home immediately. They packed a few essentials and stayed with Sarah's parents that night. They never went back to apartment 3 billion. They weren't the only ones. Another family, the Millers, had lived there the year before. They reported similar phenomena. Their son, Tom, would talk about his shadow friends. He'd describe them playing games with him. One day, he told his parents they were playing hide and seek. He said they'd hidden in the walls. He pointed to a spot on the living room wall. His father, David Miller, was skeptical. But he couldn't shake the unease. He decided to investigate. He knocked on the wall. It sounded hollow. He pried away a loose piece of wallpaper. Behind it, he found a small, dark opening. It looked like an old access panel. He shone a flashlight inside. He saw tiny handprints on the inside of the panel. And something else. Something that looked like a small, crudely made doll. He felt a chill that had nothing to do with the draft. He quickly covered the opening. He told his wife they needed to leave. They moved out within a week. They never spoke of it to anyone. Until Sarah and Mark's story surfaced. It seemed the children weren't playing, they were trapped. Or perhaps they were trying to show something, show what happened to them. There were rumors about the building's history. Rumors of a family who lived in 3 billion decades ago. A family with young children. Something terrible happened to them, but the details were always vague, lost to time and fear. Could these shadow children be the echoes of that tragedy? Are they trying to communicate with the living? Are they warning people away? Or are they inviting them to play? To join their eternal game? The apartment building still stands. Apartment 3 billion is occupied by new tenants. They haven't reported anything yet, but the whispers persist. The feeling of being watched never truly leaves. What do you think is happening in apartment 3 billion? Would you ever stay a night in apartment 3 billion?